Since the release of the Ronin 4D, this camera has been my main workhorse for all filmmaking assignments here in Iceland and in the Arctic. Over the years, I've definitely dreamt of adding cinema glass to this camera, but it is a tricky one when you have such size and weight restrictions to be able to make use of the 4D axis on the camera. A few months ago, NiSi got in contact with me and asked if I would like to test out their Athena prime lenses. This is a set of lenses from 14 up to 135mm with a general maximum aperture of t1.9 with the exception of a couple of lenses that are t2.2 and t2.4. These lenses are so small, they can just fit in your hand. They're 800 grams. They have almost the same size and weight across the whole lens set and the exact same positioning of the aperture and focus rings. The main thing that excites me about them is that they can offer full compatibility, at least up to the 85mm on the Ronin 4D. I could have never predicted the situation that I would end up with when testing these lenses. Me and my friend David, who is a fellow cinematographer here in Iceland, were commissioned by DJI to film the Civil Defense Drone Unit. This is a team of expert drone operators that work with the Civil Defense and the National Police to respond to natural disasters and any police investigations. These are the first guys in the field. And we actually went out with them with the intention of just documenting some quite methodical things that they do. About midway through the day, they all got on their phones and I realized that something was going down. They, of course, drove off into the distance at super speed with their sirens on, and shortly after, of course, a new eruption started and we found ourselves documenting them in a real-life natural disaster event, doing their job of responding to scientists and the meteorological office. The setup that we had on hand was the NiSi Athena primes. We had up to 85mm at the time, and two Ronin 4Ds, one 8K, one 6K, and my DJI Inspire 3. Now, a brand new eruption was unfolding, so me and David had to think quick how we were going to devise our plan to get talking head shots, B-roll of them doing their work, but also send our drone in to get footage of the eruption. So I found myself a lot of that day doing drone work while David was filming shots with the Athenas. To summarize this event, I would say that the footage that we walked away with, I'm just incredibly proud of. NiSi prizes themselves on having consistent contrast and color accuracy across all the primes. And I actually did the edit and grading on this video myself. And I will say that I'm just extremely impressed at how those different focal lengths held up in the edit. Now for this shoot, we were in bright blue sky weather. This is the least optimal lighting situation you could have, but of course this was a documentary style shoot and we just needed to get the shots as they unfolded. We were shooting mostly wide open thanks to having internal NDs on the Ronin 4D, and the Athena primes, which are the same size and weight, you could just take one off, put the other on without thinking twice. And I will say that they handled the aberration very well. Shooting wide open, there was little to no visible chromatic aberration on the lenses. This really is on another level to what I can achieve with the lenses I've previously used on this camera. Having the same size and weight up to 85mm means that there's just less pressure to need to rely on one lens over the other because of the annoyance of needing to rebalance or reset the camera when doing lens changes. This just increases the speed, and in a documentary situation where you maybe don't have more than one opportunity to get a shot, this allows you to just quickly put one lens off, one lens on, and keep the job going. Another interesting feature of these lenses is they have no visible focus breathing. This of course can be the difference between a usable or non-usable shot, because that focus breathing can be so distracting, especially if something important is going on in the shot. The 300-degree focus ring gives even more precise control for focus because it allows for smoother, longer focus pulls with more small incremental movements as you go around the focus ring. Since finishing the Civil Defense project, I've had these lenses out on a few different shoots, one of which is very exciting, but it's under full NDA for a few years, so eventually I'll be able to share what that one was. But I've also done some personal testing. The 135 definitely pushes the maximum capabilities of the Ronin 4D. I would say that if you take away the vertical axis, this lens just will work great. It will push the motors, they do get quite warm, but you can use 135 on the Ronin 4D. However, if you want to have the vertical axis as well, then 85 is definitely the upper limit. Because the 85 is the same size and weight as the rest of the set, you have quite a unique setup, being able to have such fine, stable control of a long focal length like 85mm. And for me, in my work filming nature, being able to switch from, for example, 24 to 85, that combination of wide and tight is really where I get impactful sequences. And that brings me to the minimum focus distance, which is very nice across the lens set. There is also a close-up screw-on magnifier for the lenses. I didn't get the chance to test that, but that's definitely interesting. I do have apprehensions about anything screw-on on a lens, but from what I've seen, it does perform quite well. After my initial testing of the Athena primes, it really is hard to believe the optical quality coming out of such a small lens. It's truly opened up new possibilities for the Ronin 4D, and in fact, any handheld rig. This is just such a lightweight setup for filmmaking. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to my channel if you want to see more from Iceland and the Arctic, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.